Okay.
All right. Cool. That's awesome. All right. Cool. So thank you guys for joining me. If I can have everybody just go on mute. Um, this is the first. So congratulations on attending the general project management course that we did. Thank you so much for uh, what's it called? Entering in that survey. That was really, really helpful. I think what I noticed was that everybody essentially really enjoyed the course. Everybody was able to keep up with the material. So I'm really happy about that. Also, everyone feels more confident. So I'm actually really happy about that as well. And then lastly, in terms of motivation, almost everybody wants to be able to interview within the next 3 months. Some sooner, some longer, but pretty much the majority wants to be able to interview within 3 months. And in order for me to be able to, suit that, the minimum that we would require would be about 30 minutes of effort per day. And I wanted to make it easy for everybody. Obviously, doing homework is hard, but I decided on just one homework assignment per person per week. So it's really easy. So tomorrow, I'm going to choose one of you guys to do the homework assignment, only one person. And that one person, all you have to do is watch a video that I send you, and then summarize the video in your own words on Google Slides. You can use as many slides as you want to summarize the material. The more, the better. And you're going to present that in maximum 5 minutes at tomorrow's class. That way everybody learns and you get a chance to present. And you actually learn more when you present and teach. So if you learn and then you teach it, it stays in your mind more. Just checking with you guys. Can somebody just unmute their phone? Mikhail, maybe unmute your phone. Just let me know. Can you hear me? Okay. Is there any breakup?
Yeah, no, I can hear you perfectly.
Awesome. Okay, cool. If anything happens at any given time, you can't see anything or you can't hear anything, just let me know. And you guys can see the screen, right? Mikhail, can you see the screen? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
My bad. I was driving. I just saw you. Thumbs up. Cool.
No, we should make you look.
So this second course, Scrum Fundamentals, this is the real deep dive. You guys get this down, you got like maybe 50% of the job down, believe it or not. So we're going to cover the Scrum methodology. We're going to cover with Scrum in terms of the Scrum framework, what are the main meetings you have to do and you have to know of, and each of those meetings, how you run them. And it doesn't matter what company you work for, it should be plus or minus maybe a few little things here and there. Pretty much it'll resemble what I'm going to teach you guys. So you'll be confident after this course, which should take maybe maximum 1 month to cover all the details. You'll be in a really good place. And after that, then the next few courses are literally just getting the technical concepts down of like what is a website, how websites work, what's the technical jargon. And then literally the third part is just practical, just throwing you guys into projects, having you guys practice, working on your resumes, and then interviewing. And if you noticed last time, I kind of threw you guys in the deep end. I just had you guys just start practicing, just literally throwing slides together, trying agendas. And that's how I'm going to do this class. You work better when you practice. That's it. So I'm going to start throwing you guys into the deep end. Get comfortable with getting uncomfortable. And one of the things I loved the most in last class, Mikhail, you demonstrated that really well, is when you just kind of took something, you just kind of rolled with it, whether, you decided to go take the group into like, one way and you kind of just rolled with it. And that's how the interview process is. You kind of take the interviewer along with you on a ride and you kind of get used to just talking on the fly. All right, so we can go to the next slide. So I want to talk about the types of companies that you're going to interviewing for. So go to the next slide. So you guys might have heard this before. There's different types of companies. There's SaaS companies. They're called software as a service. So Salesforce is an example of that. They're companies that there's no actual software that you download. The software itself is kind of like on the website, and essentially you're using their software as a service. You're using like their company to store stuff like Google Drive to play videos like YouTube a little bit. And Salesforce, you could do an entire like save all your customer information on Salesforce.com. So this idea of companies that kind of fit into that bucket. The second type of company are their platforms. YouTube, Facebook, tons of them. Their platforms. They're just kind of like, they give you the option to create stuff. Instagram. The third one, they're cloud companies. So this is like storage, or like literally you could store entire computers, entire systems, servers, entire, like, they're literally entire companies. Their entire company system, including the front end, back end, all of the data, everything that they store is not at their company headquarters. It's actually in what's called the cloud. I'm just gonna call in somebody. Kelsey, have you ever heard of the cloud before?
Yes, I store all my photos there. That's all I know about it,
yeah.
really.
Yes. Exactly. That's it. You got it. So the cloud is, so you're storing your photos in the cloud, meaning it's not being stored on your physical device. It's being stored in this thing called the cloud, which is computers or servers that are, outside of your house and outside of your domain. And then number 4, there's publisher companies. They're like, ESPN.com, these type of companies, news sites, CNN. There's lots of other type of companies, but this kind of gives you a few examples. Go to the next slide. So other companies that use tech, Verizon, Macy's, these companies, they're not technology companies, believe it or not. They just use technology, right? Macy's, they're a clothing company, right? But they're using technology to have a website, to have an app. ESPN, definitely not a technology company, but they're definitely using technology. So that's what kind of gives you, the Scrum Master, a billion jobs to apply for. I mean, you could like apply for like an oil company. I mean, you wouldn't want to do this, but I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like, you could apply for like a tire company, Michelin.com, because they got a website and they need a Scrum Master. So your job will be in demand, God willing. Go to the next slide. All right, so I'm going to break down a project. Where you will be. So Scrum Masters, like I said, you might be at an IT company that creates software development, or you might be at a large, massive company like Amazon or Google, or somewhere in between. So you go to the next slide. So we're going to break down the project now. Go to the next slide. All right. So forgive me for my slides. It doesn't look that cool. Sometimes they're not going to look that great, but the content is going to be legit, hopefully. So number 1, I want to talk about the source of a project. What is a project, right? At a company, you might be working at Verizon, and they might have a huge Verizon-wide project. Like, we just released a new plan for kids called the Go Kids plan. So it's a new plan that parents could get for the kids. So that plan, they're going to have it at the stores, Verizon stores. They'll be selling it on the website. You could go on the app and you could like subscribe to the new plan. You could learn about the plan, get details on it, etc. So that project, believe it or not, was a massive undertaking, because the business, meaning like the VPs and the directors, etc., they had to come up with everything. They had to come up with a general idea, all the marketing, the names of the plan, all that good stuff. So usually with a project, before it touches you, the Scrum Master, there are people high up that are coming up with a big overall idea of the project. Now, there are other cases where the project's just coming from the product manager. He's just like, yo, we're building out a new startup company, and we need to have a checkout page, because people are going to buy stuff. We need a checkout page. That checkout page is going to be, quote unquote, a project. So it could be small like that, or it could be massive. Like, hey, we're going to build a brand new ESPN.com website, or we're going to redesign the whole entire thing. Number 2, resource allocation. So after you get from the source of the project, there's this idea of coming up with a business case. Sometimes you might get involved in that, meaning that you might come to meetings or you might contribute in terms of taking notes, or you might be told to help document the discussions that are happening around that. But usually that's higher up, and that's usually like the big wigs, the executives, etc. They're coming up with the business case. The business case is usually exactly what it sounds like. It's the case to create the project. So basically, what does the project consist of, and what type of, if we do this project, what's required, meaning how much money are we going to need, how many developers, how much resources, are we willing to throw at it? And really, after we release this thing, whatever we're creating, what type of ROI are we going to get? ROI stands for return on investment, meaning if we invest $100,000 this year into this project, after 1 year, what's the return? Are we going to get $1 million in revenue? Is it $5 million? Is it, what's the return? So based on that, you see number 3, priority. So once they know the expense of how big the budget's going to be for this and the ROI, they'll figure out the priority. Sometimes it's the ROI that drives the priority. They have a list of 5 projects. They prioritize it based on what's going to give the biggest bang for the buck. There's other times when there's a legal mandate. So I worked at Blue Shield in California. They always had government to, add this one new web page that's going to say this about doctors, or a disclaimer, things like that. And when that happens, it doesn't matter how much the money costs. You just have to do it, because if you don't, you're going to either get fined legally or you're going to get in trouble, etc. So that kind of gives you an idea of priority. Let's go to the next slide. So program managers at really big companies, program managers, they're kind of like the big project manager. They don't really work on stuff that you work on, which is the day-to-day. They work on managing the project managers. The program manager manages all of the Scrum Masters. So if there's a master project with 10 teams, 10 project managers, the program manager is managing those 10 project managers. So he's meeting with you and all your friends that are other Scrum Masters to figure out on a general, on a big, if it's a massive ESPN.com website, actually, embarrassingly, I don't know anything about ESPN.com, but Bilal, give me, Bilal, what's 3 or 4 main pages of the ESPN.com website?
3 or 4 main features. They have obviously baseball. Then they'll have a football page. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yep, they'll have a baseball page, a football page, soccer page. They have many pages. And then they'll have MMA page. They have a page for every sport. And then they'll may have a page for subscriber. Let's say you want ESPN Plus, you pay for that subscription, so there'll be a separate page for that. So ESPN has many pages, and that's how they do it.
Awesome. Okay, thank you, Bilal. So with the ESPN.com example, if you're redesigning the whole entire page, that's a lot of pages. That might be like 10 different sports pages then. So there might be one single Scrum Master that will, like, their team is going to redesign one page, the baseball page, and then there'll be another team for basketball, etc. So you get the picture. And there's one massive big program manager that's like working with all of the Scrum Masters, and he's coming up with, okay, when are we gonna deliver the baseball page? When are we gonna do the basketball page? Because each page might take like 2 months to do, for example. And so he's coming up with a massive, timeline of when everything is gonna fall into place. Any questions up until now? If you have a question, you could unmute. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, So the business, so this is kind of like breaking it down, right? So on the left, you see business objectives. So this is like coming up with the requirements for the project. So this is like when you have the massive project, you have an idea of what it is, like redesigning the ESPN.com website, for example. And then this is when the business folks are going to come up with really high level objectives. Like number one, we want to rebrand all of ESPN.com. There's be new colors and new fonts. They might say number two, we're going to have each web page needs to have these top three rankings, sports rankings on the top, and we need a link to the ESPN app on each one of the pages. So it's really, really high level. And then they'll come up with a release date for each thing. So they'll say that, this entire redesign, we need it done before Christmas, or we need it done by the Super Bowl, for example. And they'll come up with a release date. Then after that, the business guys head. That square in the middle, that's the product owner square. They'll hand it off to the product owners. Now, if it's ESPN.com, like I said, every page. Let's say we're talking about the basketball product owner. So the basketball product owner, he's basically going to break it down into more high-level requirements. They're called epics. So what's an epic? Amina, you said that you really like this one website, katespade.com. On katespade.com, I haven't ever been there before, but I'm assuming that it's kind of like Macy's and stuff. And let's say you go to katespade.com. I'm so dumb, I don't even know what that's for. I'm guessing it's for jewelry. Jewelry, right, Amina? Am I close? Okay, I'm guessing I am. So katespade.com, you're on katespade.com, and you're trying to redesign, let's say, the search experience, the search bar, right? So if it's the epic would be basically search redesign, right? So the epic is just high enough that you might have multiple different smaller features, but you're not saying something like, oh, we're going to redesign the entire website for Katespade. We're going to take one page and we're going to redesign that. Or we're gonna say we're gonna add a Google Maps feature to see all the stores, a store locator. Well, the store locator might be considered an epic, and under the store locator, you're gonna have user stories. So if it's a store locator page, the user stories under that would be stuff like searching by zip code, searching by city, searching by merchandise, searching by brand name, fashion, brand name items, you know what I mean? So those are all features that you could have on the page. So they would be user stories. But the actual epic is kind of like the grouping of all of these user stories under one heading. So the epic itself is not really work. It's kind of like a body of work you could consider. Does that make sense? I'm going to call upon somebody. Does that make sense? Kelsey?
Yes, it makes sense. It's like the everything as a whole under one heading, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. All right. So then, so the product owner goes ahead. He basically creates all these epics before, and then number three, the Scrum Master and the product owner, they're going to get together and they're going to do something called release planning. So in release planning, you're not planning for a sprint. You're thinking really high level now. And you're thinking like, okay, if we're redesigning ESPN.com and we're trying to release it by Christmas, and we have 2-week sprints. So right now it's like October, November, December, like basically 3 months. And if you have 2-week sprints, that would be 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So 6 sprints. You only got 6 sprints to redesign ESPN.com. So the product owner and the Scrum Master would get together, and the product owner will decide each sprint, generally speaking, what is he trying to accomplish? Kind of like a theme to the sprint. For example, sprint 1 will focus on adding, if it's ESPN.com, on sprint 1 we'll focus on just adding new colors and new fonts and new images to all the pages. Sprint 2 will take every page and we'll add a link to the mobile app. And in sprint 3, we'll be rearranging the entire page on each page. So we have the top rankings always on the top. And then we have on the bottom, we have like, latest scores, for example. So, so that way they kind of have an idea of what to expect. They're kind of like planning out the next 3 months, essentially. That's called release planning. Usually release planning is even larger than that. They get together with a ton of Scrum Masters and business folks, and sometimes even engineers, to kind of think of all the epics that they want. And then based on the epics, they might have one epic per sprint. Does that make sense so far, Kamala?
Yes, Shana.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this, I want you guys, I know there's only about 1 or 2 minutes left. I want everybody to review my slides when they get off sometime before tomorrow. Just run back and click on the link and review these slides and just take a good look at the pictures. I don't care about anything else. Just look at these pictures just so it kind of sticks in your head. This is how a product owner and works with a Scrum Master to get organized. So you kind of help the product owner think in terms of high level, so they could take what the user activities are and then kind of break it down into tasks that the users will do. And then from there, they could think of like user stories. This is just one idea of how you could help the product owner think, right? You're just kind of like coaching him. You're kind of like a coach, right? You're a project manager, but you're also like a coach, and you're coaching everybody, helping people think and helping people do their work, if that makes sense. Let's go to the next slide. Release planning, we talked about it already. Let's go to the next slide. Product backlog. So then after release planning, the product owner is going to go ahead and start filling up his product backlog with user stories. And the user stories will be based on each of the epics. And then he'll, on the right, if you look at the sprints, each sprint kind of has an epic or a theme. So he'll first start creating user stories for sprint 1. Go to the next slide. And this is an example of a backlog. Mikhail, you had mentioned that it would be really nice to kind of start seeing stuff in real life. So this is a real life Jira backlog. And you can see there's just like user stories here. And if you clicked on the user story, you'd be able to actually see the card itself. And I'm going to be diving into this stuff more as we begin this course. Go to the next slide. This also is from Jira. You can see lots of different issue types. And I'm going to end the class on this. I know we started 2 minutes late, so I'm just going to take the liberty to speak for another 2 minutes. The various different issue types. User stories are you guys are familiar with that. But then there's things called subtasks, and those are tasks that developers are going to add to the user story. For example, if you're saying, hey, we need a user story for a registration page, the subtask for the developer will be like, okay, we need to, when they click on the button, we actually need to connect to this database. And we need to upload their information to this database. And we need to pull stuff from this database so we can show this image in a success message. So those are subtasks, and you don't have to worry about it, but the developer will actually keep track of his work using subtasks. Technical tasks are the same. Bugs are exactly what they sound like. They're like defects. So as people are creating or working on user stories, people find bugs, or when they do a demo, people might find bugs. So they're going to create the bug, and they'll detail what the bug is and maybe put a picture of the error message or something. And then epic, you guys know what an epic is. I just talked about it. Improvements are exactly that. Sometimes they're not user stories. They're just improvements to a site. Like Bilal might be on ESPN.com and he'll be like, wait a minute, I really hate this font. It's so small. I can't see anything. We should make the font size bigger. So he'll put an improvement ticket. That's not a user story, but it's just an improvement ticket. And then there's new features. New features are brand new. They could be a user story, but they're usually like a brand new feature, an idea that you thought of, you know. And then there's a story, which is what we've been talking about for the past 2 weeks. And then there's tasks, which they're similar to subtasks. So I think we could probably end there. Can you go to the next slide real quick? Yeah, so we can end there for now. Please go ahead and review these slides. They're going to start getting more and more complicated, so definitely take a chance at that. I'm going to randomly call upon one of you guys to make to do the homework assignment. I'm just going to go to the participation list. Whoever's the first person I see is going to do it. All right. Bilal, would you be willing to make the Google Slides for tomorrow for the homework assignment? You might be speaking on mute.
Can I make it on Wednesday?
Okay, you want to do Wednesday? Yeah, no problem. So you can do Wednesday. The next person on the list is Kamala. Would you be able to do tomorrow?
We have a program tonight in Macassar. I might be able to do it in the day tomorrow. It wouldn't be ideal, but I can if no one else can. But I'd have to do it in the day tomorrow.
All right, so we'll have Bilal go on Wednesday. Kamala, if you could go on Thursday.
Okay.
Kelsey, do you think you could go tomorrow?
Yes, I can go tomorrow.
Okay, cool. So Kelsey, I'll send you the link of the video to review, and then you can create the Google Slides then for tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, Bilal will go. Thursday will be Kamala, and then Friday will be Amina. Does that sound good for everyone?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. And then Amina, if you could give me a favor, the recording will pop up on your laptop. I'll send you an email with instructions on how to upload it to our YouTube channel, so you could do that later today or tomorrow. Cool.
Okay.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ali.
So no problem, guys.
No problem.
Sorry.
Take care, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Bye.